And I've just come on live. Just want to do some shout outs. Life is seasonal, isn't it? It's seasonal in every aspect and respect. If we read the ancient manuscripts, it says this: there is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to sow, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to tear down and a time to build, a time to weep, a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to scatter stones and a time to gather them, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to search and a time to give up. Isn't that interesting? A time to search and a time to give up. It reminds me of the MH370 plane crash. A time to keep and a time to throw away. This could be related to girlfriends, guys, and women to men. A time to tear and a time to mend. A time to be silent and a time to speak. A time to love and a time to hate. A time for war and a time for peace. And hopefully we're all aiming for peace. That would be the idea of it. So we've got rain here today on the Central Coast of New South Wales, Australia. I just wanted to pop in and say good day. Any shout outs? Anybody want to pop on and give us a shout out at all? We'll do that. But some of the, I thought the one in there that said a time to search and a time to give up. I've just been watching the MH370 investigation, and that's a real hard one, that one. They've tried really hard to find that thing. But they ain't going to, well, they haven't so far. I hope they do, but they haven't so far. And then there's a time to mend and a time to tear. So there's all these different aspects of life that we need to look at. Davey Anderson, never a truer word said. G'day, Dave. Hope yourself and Mel are well. Got rained off today, given the ankle a rest. Got mine in a brace. Look, it's in a brace. There it is, in a brace. Yeah, the old ankle. I know what it's like. It's fucking terrible. Never true. Habib. Lockie Hodge. G'day, Lockie. How you doing? I wondered about you lately because of some stuff that's going on with you know who. Hope you're doing well, mate. But it says there's a time to be born and a time to die. Now that reminds me of that famous. G'day, Dave. I'm a big fan of yours as well. I've been a fan of yours for decades. And I hope you're healing well as well. Time to be born and a time to die. This is my advice to all of you. When you go to the cemetery, you'll see so-and-so was born on such and such, and then there's a little dash, and then they died on such and such, and that's about it. Look at the little dash. Ask yourself, what is your little dash going to be made up of? It's not when you're born or when you die. It's that little dash that has the meaning. That's your life. What you do in your life, you know. And I'll tell you something, I've tried to milk everything I can out of this life, and I've run out of energy at the moment trying to. Craigie, big shout out, salute to Craig Crawford. Where are you from, Craig? Love your work, mate. So yeah, I've tried to milk everything I can out of this life, but I've worn myself out, Dave and Lockie. I've worn myself out a bit. It says there's a time to tear down and a time to build. Sometimes we've got mindsets that we need to change. We need to tear them down and reflect on where we can have better thoughts and go, yeah, I can rebuild better thoughts. Those thoughts that I was having weren't all that good. And I can recreate better thoughts towards myself, towards the people that I love. Particularly in your situation, Dave, it can get a little bit discouraging and you can go a bit inward, but you've always had a positive outlook, and I'm sure that's going to carry you through to the other side of what you're dealing with there. It says there's a time to weep and a time to laugh. Well, I have to be honest, I always say to my partner, Tasmania. Gosh, wow, man. That's such a long way away. Tasmania. Tasmania reminds me of the Sydney to Hobart yacht race. You know, I did go to Tasmania actually as a minister, and I did a talk at a conference there for a church down there, a men's conference. Yes, you have a beautiful wife, my friend, Davey. Yeah, there's a time to weep and a time to laugh, and I sort of have a little bit of trouble with the weeping side of it. Just can't seem to. I think if I started to cry, I'd probably, you know, I've got a lot to be sorry for. And there's a laugh instead of a weep. But I don't know. Sometimes I can't find a way of crying at this point. I wish I could, but I just can't. There's a time to mourn and a time to dance. So you have all these different aspects of life. So you can't just see life's like the seasons. It's seasonal. Life is seasonal. It's never the same. We know this by the way our body works, the way we function. We're constantly trying to navigate ourselves. We're up 1 minute, we're down the next, we're good 1 minute, we're not the next. Says there's a time to keep, and this might be applicable to Davey Anderson actually. There's a time to keep and a time to throw away. And I'm not mentioning the block saw, but it does come to mind, Dave. I wanted to have the courtesy to leave that alone until you were ready to let it go. But there's a time to keep and a time to throw away, and a time to be silent and a time to speak. So, guys, I hope this quick little talk does help you. Life is seasonal. It's never really the same every day. We do change because our body and our mind are progressive. The weather changes, very much like the weather. We need to be able to manage that. This is Pro Ricky. Have a good day, guys. Thanks for calling by. It's yours, mate. Yeah. When you're ready, we'll come over and we'll go through some stuff. There's no hurry. Although mine got a workout yesterday. It's cutting crooked. I hate that. But thanks, Dave. And be good, guys. This is